Should you integrate emotions or wake up more? Well, it's a really good question, and it's a question that can be permeated with a lot of doubt, actually. When you're faced with intense emotional instabilities like anxiety, depression, restlessness, doubt, self-hatred, there's part of you that probably knows that none of this is really going to go away ultimately, maybe. And this part of you probably also knows that meditation and seeing through and penetrating the sense of self at the deepest level is going to be more substantial than constantly having a hammer and smacking heaps of nails in your head so that you feel ease. And yet, for me, there's been a middle way, and I share from experience because it's all I really can do. I really went through a phase where I tried that first approach of penetrating the sense of self, seeing through the sense of self through practices like Vipassana, trying to cultivate equanimity toward experience. But it just didn't work for me. And the way that I reflect on it is like this. The mind at that time, when I was trying to apply teachings of equanimity, of non-reactivity to no matter how intense an emotion is, it just didn't work. It just didn't work. Because what was happening was I was trying to apply these teachings, but the mind would just be so caught in the storm of reactivity. So my path has been about emotional integration. Yet there's a key thing that I've discovered, that you need to be balancing that with some sort of disintegrative approach. For me, that means like accessing vast, spacious awareness in meditation. So realizing who and what I am at a fundamental level. But then balancing that with the act of emotional integration. And then somehow seeing that those actually aren't separate and there is something unspeakable about all of this. Maybe you can feel into it right now, if you have any access to that in your experience. If you relax your gaze and you soften your body and you let your attention dilate outwardly, infinitely, without that being a mental image in your head, and you breathe, and you don't fixate on anything, maybe you can feel into that vast, boundless quality. That even me describing it right now is saying too much about it. It's before any description, before any of the I don't get it's, before any of the doubts. And you can ask a simple question like, who am I? Like you really want to know, while in just relaxing and dilating out your attention and gaze. And just having that playful curiosity entertain the experience. Watching for the mind's tendency to want to grapple with needing something to fix, needing to transmute emotions, needing to change something. When you let that go, and you know what you truly are at a deep level, then self-inquiry from that place into the nature of emotional integration becomes balanced, in my opinion, where you have an appreciation for who and what you are, and yet there's a natural movement to integrate and to feel and to just be at more ease. Yet it's critical to know that ultimately there is something behind all of that that isn't you. There's something beyond us in our direct experience that's accessible for anyone. And it's there for you, even if you have doubts right now. Let's say I've been practicing for ages, I've been meditating like a madman, and I just can't get it. It's there for you, no doubt. If this person who doubted at every turn can realize that fundamental truth, and so can you. And very practically, it's just that, like what I just described before, relaxing your attention outwardly and just noticing any thought any subtle thought, while ensuring you're sort of relaxed. So you can be really like tunnel in your attention. But look, I mean, this is just what's worked for me. There's no one way to do this. There's no one way to do this. And that brings me nicely into what I actually wanted to talk about most, which is the guiding principle of what you should be doing in experience, which is what the nature of this video is about. It's sort of me suggesting something, an approach you could take. But ultimately, whether you should integrate emotions or disintegrate into what you truly are, which those two processes aren't separate when you operate from that understanding of who and what you truly are, which you have access to. Ultimately, what the guiding principle of that should be, in my opinion, is trusting yourself. Some days, I have an intuitive knowing that I need to integrate emotion. I want to understand with loving curiosity what is afflicting me. And that involves getting tunnel vision into an emotion and experiencing it so fully and directly so that it becomes a whole thing, the only thing in the entire universe, and then giving it a voice. What am I resisting? What does this emotion say? What does this emotion want to say if it had a voice? What would that mean about me? What's at risk if I experience this emotion in a social setting? And exploring it through all angles. And then other days there's disintegration, where there's a relaxing into the vast spaciousness of experience. And then there's a dance between the two. And the compass is my deepest heart's truth, my deepest heart's yearning. My intuition guides what's needed. And then that angst and self-doubt and worry about needing to do the practice right or what's going to be the most optimal approach dissolves. Because it's just all experience. All of it's experience. Who cares? What would happen if you didn't get the right approach? What would be at risk if you didn't know what to do? What would be at risk if you didn't optimize your well-being in the quickest way or wake up as quickly as possible? Your heart's yearning, your deepest truth, doesn't care about optimization. It cares about direct experience and what's happening right now, which very simple. Much love to you. Hope this helps.